In this week's Brit in Poland, I take you to the seaside resort of Ustronie Morskie. It is basically a family resort. It is meant to be quite cheap to stay in, but it has a little bit more to it than just lovely beaches. So please stay tuned to this video to learn a little bit about this city. It may not be my longest video, but hopefully you'll find something to your liking. So please stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy. Dzień dobry. Welcome to A Brit in Poland. This channel has a number of missions. The main one, to create a video for every place on this list. Though I could use your help. The help could be in a number of forms. You could like my video, you could subscribe to my channel, you could follow me on Facebook or Instagram, or you could donate to my Patronite account. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoy the video. Again, a big thank you to my Patreon subscribers, Ricky, Wojciech and Nico. Really appreciate all you do. So here we are on the northwest of Poland in the Western Pomerania voivodeship. I travelled with some friends by car and we stopped in Toruń, got a video to make for that, and ended up in Ustronie Morskie, which is very near Kowalczyk and Koszalin, which I've covered in previous videos. So we stayed with Mickey and Minnie Mouse in what was basically a holiday resort. So you can see how wonderful and tropical the place is, with the people playing volleyball at all hours, swimming pools, and yes, the lovely sign which so many Polish cities have. This is a neo-Gothic church which dates back to the kind of 19th century. It has a bell going down to the 16th century. And I'm going to start in the kind of center of the town. Now, this village basically has a population of about 2,500. So it's certainly not one of the bigger places in Poland. And I have to be honest, one of the least cultural places I've seen in Poland. Sorry, I'm just being honest. It's the kind of place you will take your kids for a nice seaside holiday. There are so many souvenirs you would not believe. Primarily in the center of town, you tend to find bars, shops, and amusement arcades. So, luckily, they still have a few bars where you can go, though not so many. It's the sort of place where, to be honest, if you go out of season, it's a little bit dead. We went there around the beginning of June, and yeah, it was very quiet. The weather was, shall we say, not ideal, but we made the most of it. Here are some of the oldest buildings we could find, by the way. For a while I was thinking that this place was built in the 70s, but no. It does feel like a kind of a very new city in a way, but there's this kind of little old centre to it, a bit off the beaten track. Now, primarily what 99% of people will come to this village for is the sea. So, of course, it has a lovely pier and a lovely view. Again, coming here outside of gloriously hot, sunny weather is perhaps not advisable. But we had to make the most of our time here, even though it was a bit cold and a little bit windy, which was unfortunate because either side of this little spell, it was apparently quite nice. But you have great beaches for sunbathing and seagulls and crocodiles. Yeah, be aware of the crocodiles you will encounter here. This is reminiscent of what I remember seeing at Hell, these kind of barriers to protect from flooding. But yeah, and people flying kites, because who doesn't want to see that? Beautiful kites on sale. And it even has a ship. I think I only saw one ship while I was there. But yes, it has the sea. And I think that's probably its biggest selling point. However, we found a nice little walking way, and we get to the part of the video which I actually consider interesting. So we took a little bit of a walk away from the main centre, and we found maybe the only Żabka there, or the two Żabkas, sorry. And we found a nice little park, but that's not what I'm here to show you. What I'm here to show you is actually something very interesting. And as you can see, we encountered finally a bit of culture the further we got away from the main centre. So what you have here are a series of abandoned buildings. And these were kind of places for rehabilitation for the German troops, I believe. But actually, no. A lot of this was Soviet. It was built from like 1945. And it's actually pretty cool. This is the first bunker of a series of 4 bunkers. And I tell you, it was really cool to explore. All of these are kind of open to the public. And even though probably no one died here, there were probably no horrific incidents in any of these places, as far as I'm aware, they felt creepy as heck. You had to have a bit of a light to explore. And me and my friends, we had great fun going down the various corridors, because some of these bunkers were actually fairly extensive underground. Certainly the most extensive kind of bunker complex I have encountered in Poland so far. So this was a bit of an unexpected journey. This building is the command center, and just seeing something like this, it felt like something out of science fiction. I was amazed. And we kept wondering, okay, how can we get inside this? We want to get inside this. And you can see somebody's erected some like climbing supports on the way. We weren't that adventurous. Maybe this was an old way in, but we weren't going to try that. It looked pretty much like a dead end. Eventually we found this tunnel, and this tunnel took us a little bit further. But while I show you a bit of an extended exploration to give you an idea of what this was like, let me tell you a little bit about the area. So it was like a permanent artillery battery, and it was basically created by the Soviets as helping to secure the coastal defense, particularly of Kołobrzeg, the nearby port. And all of the batteries, because these things used to have, pretty big guns attached to them, were pretty well camouflaged. In fact, a lot of them, the structures we encountered, you did not see until you were pretty much right on top of them. So they're, reinforced concrete, and they were going to be pretty deadly against any warships that happened to enter the area of the Gulf of Gdansk. And they kind of continued to be built until about 1955, but they were disbanded in 1974. And I think have pretty much just lain in ruins since then. But they provided a pretty awesome kind of urban exploration, something which I'm discovering more and more as I go around Poland. And they provided certain amounts of entertainment. And they look pretty cool. A lot of the bunkers were actually very similar, but the further you got into the forest, the more kind of overgrown and kind of dilapidated they were. And one of the cool things in these places is you see a lot of interesting artwork, which some very talented locals put together. Maybe not the safest of places. I wouldn't perhaps be too carefree with your children. After this little exploration, we stopped for food, and we found this little coastal bar which was selling a few like kielbasa and that kind of thing. We did go to a restaurant in the center of town. It was interesting pizza we had there. and a little overpriced. But the moral of the story, this is the kind of place you will want to visit in the summer if you want a nice kind of cheaper vacation outside of the main cities. Good place to bring your kids. However, if you're an adult, you might get bored very quickly. So thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for other random sites around Poland. Do zobaczenia.